18 things that brown bottle in your cabinet can do that you probably never learned growing up. There's a reason that bottle sat in every medicine cabinet for generations before anyone had a subscription cleaning service. It's cheap, it's simple, and it does more than most people realize. Hack 1. Teeth whitening rinse. Long before whitening strips showed up at the drugstore for $40 a box, people brightened their smile with something already in the cabinet. Mix a bit of water with hydrogen peroxide, swish briefly, then spit it out, never swallow it. Do this 2 or 3 times a week, and you'll notice a gradual brightening over about a month, along with fresher breath, since it also cuts down on the bacteria that cause it. One note worth keeping in mind: this is a moderation hack, not a daily habit. Overdoing it can irritate your gums, so a couple times a week is the sweet spot, and always rinse with plain water afterward. Hack 2. Disinfecting cutting boards. A wooden cutting board can hold on to more bacteria than people expect, especially in the knife grooves. After your normal wash with soap and water, apply hydrogen peroxide directly to the surface and let it bubble briefly before rinsing. It gets down into the grain in a way dish soap alone doesn't, which matters most after cutting raw meat or poultry. Hack 3. Laundry stain removal. Before oxygen-based stain removers were sold in every store, this was the stain fighter people reached for first. Pour it directly onto a fresh blood stain and watch it fizz as it breaks the stain down. For wine, combine it with a little dish soap and let it sit on the spot for a while before washing. Grass stains and old set-in marks respond to the same basic treatment. It's gentle enough for most colors when diluted, unlike straight chlorine bleach. Hack 4. Washing machine cleaner. That musty smell coming out of your washer isn't just old detergent, it's buildup living in a damp, dark drum. Pour a generous amount of hydrogen peroxide straight into an empty machine and run it through a hot cycle. It gets into the rubber door seal and the hidden corners regular detergent never touches, and it's a lot gentler on rubber parts over time than bleach. Combine baking soda with hydrogen peroxide into a paste, spread it over your grout lines, let it sit for a while, then scrub with an old toothbrush. The mild fizzing action pulls grime out of the porous grout without eating away at it the way harsher acidic cleaners can. For grout that's gone from white to gray, cover the paste with plastic wrap and leave it overnight before scrubbing. I didn't believe the grout trick myself until I tried it on my own bathroom floor. Grout that had been gray for years came back nearly white in one afternoon. No new tile required. Hack 6. Produce soak. Fill a clean sink or bowl with cold water, add a splash of hydrogen peroxide, and soak your fruits and vegetables briefly. It helps rinse away residue that plain water tends to leave behind, especially on anything with crevices like broccoli or lettuce, and it doesn't affect taste. Rinse thoroughly with clean water afterward. Hack 7. Mold and mildew removal. Apply hydrogen peroxide directly on moldy grout or shower curtain mildew and let it sit for a while before scrubbing. It gets into porous surfaces and works on the mold itself, rather than just bleaching the surface white the way chlorine does, and it doesn't leave behind the fumes bleach does. For stubborn spots, apply it, cover with plastic wrap to keep it damp, and leave it overnight. Hack 8. Sneaker whitening. Combine hydrogen peroxide and baking soda into a paste, work it into the rubber soles and fabric with an old toothbrush, then leave it on for a while in direct sunlight if you can manage it. The UV actually speeds up the whitening. It breaks down the yellowing that builds up over time without weakening the fabric the way bleach sometimes does. Hack 9. Mirror and window cleaning. Combine hydrogen peroxide and water in a spray bottle for a streak-free shine that also disinfects as it goes, without the ammonia smell of most commercial glass cleaners. It cuts through fingerprints and hairspray residue and evaporates fast enough to avoid water spots. Hack 10. Toilet bowl disinfecting. Pour hydrogen peroxide into the bowl and let it sit for a while before scrubbing. It gets under the rim where bacteria tends to build up and helps break down mineral rings without the corrosive effect that harsher acidic cleaners can have on porcelain and metal parts over time. For tougher stains, add a bit of baking soda for extra scrubbing power. Hack 11. Minor cuts and scrapes. This was the original wound cleaner long before antibiotic ointment became the standard. Applied to a fresh cut, it bubbles on contact and helps flush out surface debris, which is genuinely useful in a pinch when soap and water aren't handy. Worth knowing, though, that current first aid guidance actually favors plain soap and water or saline for ongoing wound care, since peroxide used repeatedly can slow healing in the surrounding tissue. So this one's a good one-time field fix, not a daily routine. That one surprised me too when I first heard it. Grandpa's medicine cabinet trick and the modern first aid kit actually agree, just not on the daily part. Hack 12. Whitening yellowed nails. Soak your fingernails in a small bowl of hydrogen peroxide mixed with a little baking soda for a few minutes a couple times a week. It works into the nail bed gradually to break down the discoloration that builds up from years of polish, while the baking soda gives it a gentle bit of extra scrubbing. Hack 13. Pet stain and odor removal. Combine hydrogen peroxide with a little dish soap and work it into the stained area with a brush. It breaks down the proteins in pet accidents that cause both the stain and the lingering smell, and it's gentle enough for homes with pets and kids. Let it sit an hour, blot with a clean towel, then rinse. Hack 14. Shoe odor elimination. Spray the inside of your shoes with undiluted hydrogen peroxide and let them dry completely, ideally in the sun. That odor is bacteria feeding on moisture and dead skin, and this treats the actual source instead of just covering the smell the way a powder spray does. Pull the insoles out and treat them separately for the best results. Hack 15. Disinfecting sponges and dishcloths. Kitchen sponges hold on to more bacteria than almost anything else in the house. Soak them in a bowl of hydrogen peroxide and warm water for a few minutes daily, and you'll get a lot more life out of them before they need replacing. Hack 16. Cleaning your humidifier. Once a week, add hydrogen peroxide to the tank and run the machine for a while, then rinse thoroughly. It handles the mold and mineral buildup that regular water alone won't touch, without leaving a chemical residue that ends up in the air you're breathing. Hack 17. Whitening yellowed pillows. Mix hydrogen peroxide with baking soda in a tub of hot water, submerge your pillows, and let them soak for a while, flipping halfway through. Machine wash and dry afterward. Pillows that look past saving often come back looking close to new. Hack 18. Disinfecting baby toys. Combine hydrogen peroxide and water in a spray bottle, mist toys thoroughly, and let them air dry, no rinsing needed. It breaks down into just water and oxygen, which is exactly why it's a common pick for anything little ones are going to put in their mouths. 18 hacks, one bottle, and most of them cost you pennies instead of the $20 or $30 you'd spend on a specialty product for the same job. One safety reminder before you go try any of these: never mix hydrogen peroxide with bleach or ammonia-based cleaners. The fumes from that combination are genuinely dangerous. Keep it separate from your laundry room chemicals and you'll be fine with everything on this list. Tell me in the comments which one of these 18 you're trying first, and if there's a room in your house you want me to focus a whole video on next, drop it below. If this saved you a trip to the store, go ahead and subscribe. It's free, unlike most of what's on that shopping list.